Greetings everybody, Amar here, and I've made a new TFR for week starting May 6, 2019. TFR stands for Traditional Frequency Rating, and the way it works is that I take a count of the numbers, right, combined. So I combine, for instance, 0 in the first position with 0 in the second position with 0 in the third position for a total of 10 weeks, right? Now the week is going to be 14 draws at 2 drawings a day. So when you take that tally, you get a number, right? And then I sort the number of the sums for each digit. So for instance, when I first started building this chart, the 0 had the most hits. This is the complete chart since I built it. Okay, so this first represents the first set of 10 weeks, right? And this is the next set of 10 weeks. And then after a week goes down, to do the next set of 10 weeks, and the next set, and on and on and on. So I did the first 10 weeks, and then I started. This is when I started. May, January, March 25th, 2019. So I've done 10 consecutive. Well, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've done 7 consecutive TFR counts. All right. So you can see that the 0 was the best number back here, and it started moving down, right? And now it's kind of cold, right? And the 5 here was at the bottom, and then it started moving up. So there was a switch. The 0 switched with the 5, right? And 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Are those mirrors? 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 0 and 5 are mirrors. So the 0 switched with the 5, right? It's a mirror. So that's interesting. And you can see here the 2 was at the top, and now the 7 is at the bottom. So the 2 switched with the 7. So those are also mirrors. And mirrors is just the digit plus 5. So 0 plus 5 is 5, is a mirror. 1 plus 5 is 6. 2 plus 5 is 7, etc. That's how mirrors work. That's one of the things that I learned from Lottery Post. And the other thing I learned from Lottery Post is building this TFR. I don't remember who told me about mirrors. I just read it and I was like, oh, that's an interesting concept. Actually, if you go to Pogo, I think if you do a Google search for Pogo, he has a website where he talks about lottery math and he mentions mirrors and stuff like that. So anyway, Joey D had a thread where he showed how the TFR works. So I read the thread and then I built the Excel file for this TFR. So the 7 anyway is last still, one of the worst numbers, but the 7 looks like it might be waking up, but it's not showing yet. But there was a shift here. The 0 moved up, the 6 moved down. So I had been playing or watching for 740, and now we have to start watching 746. 5 stays at the top, and etc., etc. So if we look at the actual drawing since hit chart, we compare it, the overall data, with what we have here. Let's see. Okay. So we have, let's see if we can make this so it doesn't obscure any of my entries here. Alright. So the 7, I was looking here for a hot skip. Hot skip by my standards is skip 0, 1, 2, or 3. Essentially, it is the downstroke that begins the flag formation. So I didn't get a hot skip here, right? This was 4 cold periods. 3 cold periods, 4 cold periods. Now this 7 in the middle, 5 cold periods. And you got the downstroke, which begins the flag formation. Now the interesting thing is that Gail says that you want to try to hone in on the upstroke at skip 5 in the flag formation. And yeah, that's good. That does happen. For instance, over here, in the middle position here, let's say here, you had a classic flag of 1-5. So that's an upstroke. But if you take the 0 here in the first position, you don't get a classic downstroke of 0-1-2. You do get the hot skip of 3, but you never get an upstroke that goes to 5. So that's what I found is the danger of the upstroke of the skip 5, because many times a hot and heavy streak will never get to skip 5 before the number goes cold. So anyway, I had made a prediction over here with the 8-7-7, right? I thought this streak of the 8 here in the first position was going to continue. You had the 8 came in reverse, 9 games, had a hot skip 3, had symmetry at 8, symmetry at 7, 5, and I was looking for it to 7. So I had the 8-7-7, and came out 1-7-7. But what I didn't think to do was that to go 1 up on the 1-8-8 that came out previously. So let's see, 1-8-8 is sum 17. So where's sum 7? Here it is, 8-8-1, sum 17. So could have done 1-7-7 doing 1 off, right? I don't know. But if you look at the doubles dish, right, I had marked 8-8 here because I was looking at this pattern 125-9-7. So I was looking at the symmetry here. But I knew that this was an exhaustion for the 7-7. So I had it marked for skip 182, which was really, really a long exhaustion. So it came in at 183, 177. And the 1 in the first position was a classic flag. You had the 21-5. So I could have probably played something, you know, I overlooked that. It only had 1 cold period, so I guess I was biased towards it. And the other numbers I had was 840, 841, because I thought that, what did I think? 8404. I thought you'd have a 7-5, and then I long shot. No, I was going by the sums. That's what it was. I had made a guess on the sums. I guessed for sum 12, right? Yeah, 840 is sum 12. So that's why I played it. So I had I had the guess marked at skip 20 here. And you had this sum 15 came in at 17. So that was just the wrong guess. So I guess things to look out for here is you had the second number come in repeating 5 cold periods. Here's your downstroke that starts the flag, right? So 1. So I have looking for another repeat in the middle. Could be the 7 with this 5 cold periods. The 7 in the first position is now 14-9. I would leave it alone, waiting for it to complete its 5th cold period, because after it skip 9, it'll enter its next cold period. So let's see. Should have been more prepared here. I'm looking sum 12 here. Sidereal skip 24. Sum 11 is hot, right? Pattern is 8-7-5. Other possible sums that can come in exhaustion, maybe the 8 will come in. I do have all sums here. So these sums in the middle, right here, right? This is like the core of the bell curve, and that's the same as here in the middle, core of the bell curve. But here I have the extremes of the bell curve. So at this particular point, I was looking for sum 22 over here. This is the data. These are all the sums, and this is the drawing sense hit chart. So I was looking for sum 22 at around here, and that's actually why I picked the 8-7-7, now that I remember. Okay, but I could have actually, I could have picked any of these exhaustions, right? Any of these dormant periods. You just had the sum 1 came in after 186 games. What's interesting is you can see these sums kind of trailing each other. So you had the 6, and then the 5 came in, then the 3, and then the 1. Will the 0 be next? I don't know. You had the 0, 1, 0, so that could announce the 0, 0, 0. Then you had the 500, right? 0, mirror of the 5 is a 0. So, who knows? 180. This came in to skip 186. This was skip 299. So it can be very exhausting. And here, you guess you could say you had a little bit of a trailer. You had a 20, then 22, and 23. So those are the extremes of the bell curve. So these are all the sums here. So let's go back to the big dish, and this is the old TFR. So I'll put this over here, shrink this, and I'll copy this and bring one over here so I can see. Paste. Alright, so I have it in 2 places, and so let's see, let's look at 7, 4, 6. That's a sum 17. 6 and 4 is 10, 7 is 17. So I had looked at the sum 17 over here, looking for it to have a hot skip, 26, 3. Now it's at skip 11 again. So we could certainly keep an eye on that. But that means we would have to look closer at the 4 and the 6 in every single position. So I'll just mark this here. But right now, I think a better bet, sidereal timing, skip 24, sum 12. And the numbers for sum 12 are 057, 147, 237. And the other ones are basically with the 2 in that mirror 2. But I mean, there's more, of course, because if I go to sum 12 and we look at all the sums, where's all the sums? No, sum list mirrors over here. Sum 12 is over here. So these are all the possible. And this chart is the same as this chart, but here I'm highlighting numbers with the digit 7, and here are numbers with the digit 2, because I'm trying to focus on 7 in the mirror of 7 and the 2 in the first position. So that gives you, if you look at the drawing sense hit chart, the number 2, 0, 1, 2. Okay, here's the 2. 1 cold period, 2 cold periods, and now we're in the 3rd cold period. So the reason why I'm focusing on the 2 is because it's a mirror of the 7. I'm trying to narrow down my picks, the numbers that I'm going to play. I'm trying to hit a straight with the 7 in the front, and if I can't hit the 7 in the front, I'm trying to hit the 2 in the front. But you still have to pay attention to all these other numbers. Like here's the 3 in the first position, right? 5 cold periods. It had a 1. See, here's the downstroke of the 1. So technically, if you were going by the LMG, you would be looking for an upstroke to go 5, 1, 5. But it goes 1, 2, 0. So you would have been looking for 5, and you would have probably missed these 4. And then you're looking for 5 here. You might have missed this because you might have dropped it after 5 when it goes to 6. And then you would have been looking 6, 6. You would have got that one good. And then predicting another 6, but it didn't go to 6. So it hit down at 4. And then it hit down again, 0. And now it's going up. So here's your upstroke 6. So it's interesting because this is where kind of you have to use your intuition, because the 3 has a good chance of upstroking again at the 6. But if you look at that too strongly, you're going to overlook the exhaustion of the 2. Now the 2 came in at 28 games here, and 25 games here, and 22 games here. So it's not quite symmetrical, but certainly it is a possibility. But then you have other hot numbers like the 1 here. So you can actually, you'll have to make your own guess. I'm just trying to focus on something so that I can hone in on something without spending a huge amount. So if we just zoom in to the drawing sense hit chart here, all right, let's see, we can hopefully see a little bit better. And we'll move this over so we can see the positions to repeat. This is a double repeater. 22 games since you've had a double repeater. And I gotta change these formattings. I don't really like it. But so you can see yourself, right? And basically you have to look at each number as an independent variable. So each number is looked at independently. That's how I do it anyway. That's how I like to do it. I feel more comfortable that way. So you look independently, right? You look at 0, first position, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So each number has to be looked at independently, and that's really the challenge in this. It takes a lot of patience and discipline because you have to go through every single pattern. So I go through all of these first. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the 7 has 5 cold periods, and now I have to skip 2. So I like the 7 a lot in the first position, right? Sorry, I'm going to be jumping around here. So the 7 looks really good in the middle position, right? So I should mark it. Let me get one of these red boxes. Let me put some red boxes over here. So that looks very good. Put that right there. The 2 looks good. You could do 2, 7, 0, which is sum 9. Then I cross-reference here. Where's my sum 9 look? Again, this is the data. All these columns have the same data. These columns here all have the same data. I'm just conditionally formatting randomly by that number so it stands out. And then I can make a drawing sense hit chart. So here's the data, right? And here's the drawing sense hit chart. So looking at sum 9, you have sum 12, sorry. Skip 12, the drawing sense hit chart says 12. So here's a little box. So we'll make another guess here. We're going to look for a sum 12 after skip 12. And that gives you a 270. And then I would cross-reference that with, what else? The TFR perhaps. Nothing showing for 270. Unless you're looking at something kind of zigzaggy like here, 702 or whatever. But the drawing sense hit chart itself, you know, you could suggest that. But that's how I narrow it down. I'm not gonna make any predictions. I'm feeling tired, and this is almost 20 minutes long, this video. But I made suggestions. So here's a 2, here's a 7, here's a 0. The 7 in the end is still hot. You can see 2, 7, 8, 3. So you could try the 7 over here. You could get a 2, 7, 7. Here's a 9, right? It's a downstroke. 37, 5. So it's open to interpretation. The only thing that's consistent is how I'm enumerating the cold periods. 5 cold periods, 5 cold periods, 5 cold periods. All right. So I guess that's about it. You guys are on your own. Any questions, comments? You can email me at Amar AMARGH Lotto at gmail.com. You can look for that on Facebook. It's a little bit hard to find. I do have a couple questions that I would hope that you'd be able to answer just to see your skill level, I guess. And I'll have to make separate videos on answering those questions because they're nowhere else than in the LMG. You would have to have read that to know those answers. And but then also, the way I'm enumerating the dormant periods is not directly stated in the LMG. I'm interpreting that. I'm making an interpretation. Okay, so it's pretty simple, and it's the big dish. You know, I'm turning her dish into a big dish, and therefore I can at least be able to bypass chart 7, and I don't have a chart 7, although I can make one. I can do a countive function and count these zeros to see how many occurred in the last 50. Um, but yeah, so that's to watch. We'll also watch for a double repeat to come soon. Those are the easiest ones. Those I win most of my gambles or bets on a double on a repeater, because those are easier to see if you have a drawing sense hit chart for the repeaters. Position 1, position 2, position 3, right? Big. So yeah, that's about it. So I'm gonna post this, upload it, and the sun's coming out. Sun's coming out, so I'm gonna go out and get some sun and put my little tomato plants in the sun so they can grow nice and big, and I can have a salad. So that's it. Good luck. Happy number hunting, everybody.